SHOT Show 2015 at the CRKT booth. Bob Terzuola.
Hi.
How are you, sir?
I'm very good, thank you.
It's an honor and a privilege to meet you. I know you hear a lot of that, and you're extremely generous and very cordial and a very polite, moderate guy. So I know you hear it a lot, but you don't let it go to your head, and that's always a good thing.
Stuart. I appreciate you saying all those nice things, most of which are not true, but they really sound good, and I appreciate it.
Well, you know, I got to be there to testify in case we need to testify on your behalf, right?
You're welcome to do that.
Very good, very good. Now, I understand you've come on board with CRKT.
I have. This is the first year. I did my, what I call the BT 70 knife. BT for Bob Terzuola. 70 because this is my 70th birthday year.
Congratulations.
And thank you very much. I made it this far.
Well, there we go.
This knife basically commemorates some of the features, the design features, which I either invented or were the first one to use, or very early on used them in folding knives. This disc, for example, which is used to open the knife with the thumb, that's my invention.
You invented this,
I invented that. You'll see that on a lot of knives, especially factory knives.
Right.
But also many custom knives. And this is the type of design which I invented probably, I would say almost 20 years ago.
About 20 years ago.
Yeah, pretty close to it.
What if you don't mind my asking, what prompted the inspiration for that aspect of putting that on a folder?
With the disc?
Yeah.
They call me the father of the tactical knife.
Right.
The tactical knife being a practical, robust defense knife that police could carry, military, or that an ordinary person could carry in the street. What they call an EDC, everyday carry type of knife.
Yeah.
And some knives used to have a thumb stud, a little stud sticking out so that you could open it with one hand.
Right.
I decided that I wanted to have either a double thumb stud, and I didn't really like the look of two studs sticking out.
And just for me to toss in a little bit, the studs at the time, 20 years ago, were usually very small, quite frankly, pretty uncomfortable to implement.
Yeah, they were sharp.
And if you were deploying it or opening it under maybe a stressful situation, you could probably damage the tip of your thumb.
You could hurt yourself.
Yeah.
So I wanted something that would open the knife with your thumb with either the right hand or the left hand.
Yeah, because back then it was usually one side or the other, and even I think some people would have them so you could switch it out if you wanted to, but it was rare that they passed all the way through.
Yeah, very rare. So that was the inspiration basically for the thumb disc.
Right.
The material on the handle is black G10, which is a glass fiber epoxy composite. You'll see this on many, many, many knives today, both factory and custom. And I was the first one to use G10 on a folder handle.
Again, going back to about what time period?
84, 83, maybe 85.
And in this case, it has your traditional logo, or
that's my logo, which has been on all my knives. His name is Etznab. ETZNAB, and he's the Mayan god of flint tools and edged weapons. And I used him because I lived in Guatemala for 17 years, and I actually started my knife-making career in Guatemala.
Right.
I was working in a jade jewelry factory. I set that up. I was training people, how to carve jade, and many of the machines for carving stone could be used for shaping a knife also. So I was able to go both ways.
Right.
I was the first custom knife maker to use a clip, to put a clip on the handle. These clips came, not this clip, but the original idea of clip came from Spider Clip. And Sal Glesser actually invented the pocket clip for the knife. But he was making factory knives. They were producing them in Japan.
Right.
I was the first custom knife maker making knives by hand to use the pocket clip with Spyderco's permission.
Right. And you obtained permission properly through Sal Glesser.
Exactly. The grind is what's called a duplex grind. It's got two separate bevels. One is a more robust, strong bevel for using the back end of a knife for bearing down and cutting heavy-duty types of things.
And that's obviously the area that you would be doing that.
That would be the back area, correct. And the front.
So continuing on the bevel of the knife.
So as I was saying, the back part of the blade has a more robust, strong area for bearing down and cutting heavy things. And the front half, delineated by that line, is slimmer, has a sharper edge, and is a little bit more delicate for doing finer kinds of cuts and work like skinning, cutting paper, and so forth.
I'm going to turn that just this way a little bit so I can get a little better focus on that part of it. Very good.
Okay. And the liner lock, this is a liner lock. This is the liner part of the blade.
Right.
And this is the locking area. This was invented by a friend of mine, Michael Walker, in Taos, New Mexico. And he gave me permission to use it, and I was the second custom knife maker to be using this design. This is now very, very common.
Very common in the industry, and you were the first one that the first one I noticed using it.
Well,
mine didn't have a lot of exposure to custom knives.
Michael Walker invented it, and he used it on his knives, but he made very, very few knives, and they were very expensive, and they were art knives, and they were designed to be sold to a different special market.
Right.
Whereas my knives were tactical, more usable,
more everyday carry type
common,
of stuff.
Yeah, as you could call it, everyday carry.
Or more like an everyday man's knife.
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly. So there were more of them, a lot less expensive, of course, and a lot more accessible. And that's why you probably saw my knives with this lock rather than the original Michael Walker.
Right. And as I said, I had limited exposure to custom knives at the time. So, and again, that's just a personal observation.
And this, of course, was with permission of Michael. I actually went to his shop, and he showed me how to do this, how to do the work, how to get the angles just correct, the bevels and the pressures and so forth.
And there is an element of the custom knife designer, maker, that is very generous with each other with regards to helping each other. There's an element that's very, and has been for a number of years.
This is, I used to work in jewelry, in various other industries. This is the only craft industry that I have ever been in where there's open and free exchange of information and ideas. And other knife makers are welcome in my shop. I've been welcomed into other knife maker shops. Whereas in the art business, the jewelry business, it's rare when they will share their trade, I don't know if you want to call it secrets, but their techniques, the things that they develop.
Methods and...
methods and so forth. Usually that information is guarded very jealously.
Right. Sometimes taken to the grave.
Sometimes taken to the grave. Yeah. That's absolutely correct. But in the custom knife world, it's really not true.
Now, Bob, what is the expected availability of this knife?
I think it's either late February or April. It should be
so basically first quarter, perhaps the second quarter of 2015, depending on...
It'll definitely be the first quarter.
Okay, very good.
Whether it's early April or late February, we're not sure.
Do you know the approximate price point on this knife?
$150.
$150 suggested retail, correct? Very good. And is it going to be a limited run of some kind, or is it just they're going to manufacture until they're done?
I don't think so. We didn't talk about limiting the run at all, since it's my first knife with CRKT.
Right.
They're expecting to be keeping it for quite a while. So I think it'll be part of the stable.
Well, very good. It was an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure to talk to you.
Stuart.
And you have a safe trip back home.
Thank you.
And what kind of beer do you like, Bob?
What kind of beer? Grolsch.
Grolsch? It's a good beer.
One of them.
Yeah, it's a good beer. How about another? That's in the lager type.
I like most American small brewery.
Yeah.
Fine brewery type stuff. I like none of the large brewery beers.
Okay. Do you like any dark beer at all?
I do like dark beer. Yeah, I'll drink Guinness, but I like some of the heavier IPAs,
right?
Which are generally light beers, but now there's a couple coming out which are actually dark.
Right.
I could use one right now.
Yeah, exactly. You got your
I'm
water there?
got my water.
No, that's okay. So, and some of those IPAs, and you got the double IPAs and the triple IPAs now.
A double IPA we had last night at Morton's.
Right.
I thought it was absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
It was, I don't remember. It was the Sierra Nevada double IPA.
Very good beer.
Out of this world.
Yeah.
It went perfectly with the great steak we had.
Do you ever match them up with a cigar?
I used to smoke a pipe constantly for many, many, many years.
Okay.
When I had back surgery in August, they told me that the nicotine would interfere with the bone growth, so I had to give up my pipe and cigars. I used to smoke cigars every once in a while. I love a really good cigar.
No, well, good.
But I'm holding off on that for a while.
Sorry to hear that you have to give it up, but you have to take care of the health first, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very good. Well, again, it was an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Safe trip home, and have a nice cold one when you get home. Okay.
And you can compliment me anytime you want.
I will. You will probably get nothing but from me. Take care, sir.
Take care. Bye.